to my channel where it's Halloween all year long. My name is Lauren. Welcome. This is the vlog that I've been waiting so long to do. It is the weekend of Halloween. So much to read, so much to watch, so many things to do. I have a party. I have some books that I've been really wanting to listen to and read. So this is what this vlog is all about, and just kind of have a time capsule of one of my most favorite times of the year. So I hope you all enjoy. Let me know what you've been up to this Halloween weekend, and let's get started. So very excited for tonight. I just finished my makeup. I'm getting ready. My boyfriend and I are going to the Winchester Mystery House, because if you didn't know, I live in California, Northern California. I actually live in San Jose, the town that the Winchester Mystery House is located. So I thought as I was getting ready, I'd kind of fill you in on what I've been up to. So late last week, I started Kill Creek. That book I am kind of enjoying. Like, that book is something that is very reminiscent of like a Stephen King book, which I'm not like a huge fan of his work just because they're like very dense, very wordy, very slow moving. But I do feel like it is a slower burn, yes, definitely. But I think the characters are really compelling, and there are really distinctive personalities. So it is, if you're not familiar, basically a haunted house story where you have these group of writers, horror writers, 4 of them being interviewed at this haunted house. I think I'm about 150 pages into the book. It's about 400 pages, so it's not a small book. It's very big. And they really didn't even get to the actual haunted house that they're being interviewed at until the like 100th page or something. So again, it's like a really slow book, but I think it takes place on Halloween and a little bit before, but I think the bulk of it is going to be like the aftermath of what happens on Halloween at that haunted house. I've heard rave reviews about this book from many great YouTubers that are all about horror novels. So I feel like if I just like stick with it, it'll get better. It's not like I hate it. I just feel like I'm not super excited to pick it up, but I think that's kind of my fault because the book right before that I finished was Cirque Berserk, and that book, like, I stopped breathing in the middle of that book because it's just like so suspenseful, so intense. I was just devouring that book, and so then afterwards I read Kill Creek, and it's like no surprise that I'm like a little bit bored because that one was like super intense, like such an intense read. So yes, I'm in the middle of reading a tangible, like physical copy of Kill Creek, and I plan to finish that this weekend. It is Friday night, so I have a few more days until Halloween comes and goes, sadly. And I wanted to wrap that book up because that is part of one of the prompts for the Halloweekend Readathon, hosted by Lexi at Books with Lexi, and that is like the Halloween vibes prompt, so I thought no better way to read that book than at the end of the month. Besides that physical book that I'm reading, I'm also listening this week to an audiobook. It is the Hacienda by Isabel Canas. Another haunted house story. This one is set in Mexico, I think in the aftermath of the Mexican Revolution. But I'm really enjoying it. I know a lot of people compare it to Mexican Gothic, which I don't think they're kind of similar. They have like Gothic vibes. It's a haunted house. You have the main protagonist who is a woman, and they're slowly unraveling, which is a typical like Gothic horror trope. So I think that's where it begins and ends. It's a very different storyline, and I think there's a lot more mystery that has yet to be resolved. I'm about like 75% the way through that audiobook, and it is not as, I guess not like straightforward isn't the term as like Mexican Gothic, but there's just like a lot of stuff that's like unanswered that I have a lot of questions about. I'm like, okay, well, who, like, what's happening? Like, who is the person? Like, you're just really not clear at, like, who is the the ghost, the entity. Well, I guess you do know who it is at the point that I'm at in the book, but you don't really know why their intentions and like why they're targeting who they're targeting. And I think that mystery is what makes it so enjoyable. So I'm really enjoying this haunted house story because there is also a forbidden love trope that I am living for that I think is like really adorable. So that is interesting for me to actually like that, considering I don't even like romance. I think I like it as like a subset of like the more like horror or thriller novel, not like it being like the main entree. All right, my hair feels like it's taking forever. I have like literally so much hair. It's gonna take me forever to curl this. But for Halloween this year, I don't think I've shared this, I am going to be the female version of Sam from Trick or Treat. Where are my Trick or Treat fans out there? I have like the little lollipop stick. I got it from the spirit store. I got my little fishnets, so I'm really excited to rock that at the Winchester Mystery House. Last Halloween, my boyfriend and I went as well, but this time it is going to be the unhinged version of the haunted house. So that's where we're headed to, and it's also fun that we're celebrating Halloween, but also it's an anniversary of ours. So the next time you see me, I will be at the Winchester Mystery House living out my spooky dreams. So I'll check in with y'all then. Hello again. So I am wrapping up my makeup, just put on my lashes. My boyfriend and I spent the entire day basically cleaning, like deep cleaning our apartment, decorating. I have balloons everywhere. We're ready for a party. I just gotta make some sangria, finish my hair, and wait for folks to arrive. The Winchester Mystery House experience last night was a blast. There were some spooky rooms. Like there was one room where you're walking through like this hallway and it's like super tiny and narrow, and it's supposed to be like a spider's den, and they had like these huge, I don't even know what to call them. They weren't cocoons, but they were just, it was gross. And if you've seen my Fear the Booktuber tag video, you know I do not like spiders. And there was like a big one in that room. So they rocked it. They did awesome. It was a cool experience with like it being a haunted, trippy haunted carnival theme. You did have people who were trying to scare you, and they were like actors inside the house itself, and you walk through this like self-guided path, but like you knew where you were supposed to be going because they only really had one path for you to take. And I really enjoyed the experience. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, which maybe that was for the best. But yeah, so I guess it wasn't like, I feel like the advertising made it seem a little bit more scary than it was. But the magic of that house is really what makes me gravitate towards it, being there in these like vignettes and these scenes that were like super spooky and creepy as you're walking through the home was really worth it all to me. And they had these really cool rum drinks in these blood bags that I have never seen before, so I definitely had to try one of those. I also finished the Hacienda, which is the audiobook I've been listening to this Halloween weekend. I'm kind of sad at the way it ended. I wish it ended in a different way, but I didn't hate it. But I like the story. I just think it wrapped up. I guess it's kind of complicated. I guess it kind of was wrapped up in like a nice, pretty bow, and I don't feel like it really gave me the ending that I wanted. And I was just like rooting so hard for a specific ending, and that didn't happen, but I get it. I get what it was trying to accomplish. And while I was cleaning, mopping, sweeping around my apartment, I did start another audiobook, which was The Return by Rachel Harris. I only really borrowed this book on my Libby app because I saw other people raving about it, but there was just something about this where I was like, okay, this premise sounds really cool. And I don't even think I really learned too much about the premise, just the fact that it has to do with like a group of friends. And I'm about 25% of the way through and I'm in love with it. So next time you'll see me, it is going to be fiesta time. So happy Halloween, folks. We're almost there. Halloween Eve, a very magical evening. I honestly still can't believe Halloween is like wrapping itself up. This has been a really fun vlog and opportunity to just kind of journal and log my experiences as like a little time capsule to look back on. So regardless if anybody ever watches this, I'll look back and I'll enjoy being able to experience again this weekend, which has been a total blast. Last night I had a few folks over, friends, family, to celebrate the new apartment my partner and I have been in since this past summer. We decorated everything and had drinks and food, and it was really great to be able to share in this next adventure with all of our friends and family. I have been able to make some headway on The Return by Rachel Harris, the audiobook I've been listening to. I am 50% of the way through, and that book is intriguing me. I have to remind myself with books that deal with like multiple people and specifically like a friend group that there is a reason why they're setting you up and kind of planting seeds of like tension and getting you to feel unsettled, and that it doesn't have to be super action packed all the time, because the plot probably relies heavily on you being invested in these characters and their dynamic and their friendship, and I just kind of have to like be patient and go with the flow of like what they're trying to unfold in terms of characterization, so the plot hits in ways that are more successful than if they had like one-dimensional characters and dynamics happening. That's something that came up for me when I was reading My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, that you really have to set up friendships if that's like super fundamental to like getting and understanding and enjoying the plot. That would be probably more action-packed in like the second half of the book. So I'm 50% of the way through. Not a lot has happened except really just setting you up with this sense of dread that like there is a friend who has returned from 2 years of being just gone. Like this friend group had like a full-blown funeral for their friend, and then she returns and she's just not like how she was, and that's just kind of where you are starting to see some like supernatural elements come in. So there hasn't been anything that has showed up in this book so far, as I'm 50% of the way through, that wasn't mentioned in the book's like premise, and it's kind of like a haunted hotel vibe as well that I didn't anticipate, but I'm really enjoying, because you don't know what's happening and it seems super creepy, and it's kind of giving me like The Shining vibes. But last but not least, in the evening, I wanted to go visit the pumpkin patch in my area that has a cornfield attached to it, like this maze. Ever since I read Clown in a Cornfield, which is actually being made into a movie apparently, I've been wanting to step foot in a corn maze, be around corn husks. Now that my brain is fully functioning, I'm gonna get to some reading.
Okay, this is giving me a lot of like clown in a cornfield vibes, and I am living for it. You over there?
Well, no, we know we can't. We gotta go this way. It's the other way. That'll be.
Is that what the map says?
Uh-huh.
Ooh, all right. Oh, that is cute. Okay, yeah, let's do the long route. Why not? This way, yes. Wait, look at this. That can't be right. Hello and happy Halloween! It is finally October 31st. It has been quite a day. The weather is downcast and kind of dreary, which I kind of like. I'm like totally living for that vibe. I just got home from work today. I saw my students at the high school level and I did some of my spookiest history lessons that kind of corresponded to the time period that we're currently in. So now I'm back home relaxing. I do have some plans to watch Halloween Kills and then have time for next weekend to watch Halloween Ends in theaters. I know I'm like super late to the game on that, but I did want to make sure I got to the films that came up before Halloween Ends, so like it all made sense to me when I saw it in theaters. Beyond that, I did want to see if I could finish Kill Creek. I do not know if that is even going to be possible. I'm on page 220 and there's about like 200 pages more, a little less, in this monstrosity of a book, so we'll see what we can do with that tonight. I did want to wrap up this vlog today since it is October 31st, Halloween, one of the most amazing days ever. So we'll see about that. I did finish The Return by Rachel Harris, the audiobook I was listening to for the past few days. I liked the book and I thought it was a really cool allegory for growing up and like the awkwardness and the horrors of like having a tight friend group in college, specifically made up of women, and then how as you like age and get older, there's like a lot of awkwardness and strangeness. Like just it's unsettling as you become less intertwined in each other's lives, and what that means is you have children or get married and kind of move to different states or builds your career, like what that means for people who were once so close knit and like sisters, and then to like not be. There's like a lot of, I think, commentary on that in the book, which I wasn't expecting and really enjoyed because I found it to be like super relatable as a person approaching their 30s with close friends and just seeing how like dynamics shift and change as you get older. It could be kind of uncomfortable and awkward in many cases, and I think the way that the book unfolded using horror elements to kind of illustrate that I thought was brilliant. I don't know if that was the goal of the book, but that's like what I was kind of taking away from it. And the horror elements were subtle in that book, and then at the end everything kind of came together. I don't know if I was a big fan of the ending, considering I thought it would have been a little bit more interesting if the person, instead of like running away from the antagonist, the protagonist kind of like leaned into it a little bit. I thought that would be, if they leaned into it a little bit more and kind of accepted the proposition from the antagonist, that would have actually led to a little bit more of an interesting ending. But maybe if I just sit with it a little bit more, the choices that the author made regarding the ending would make a little bit more sense to me. But overall, I was engrossed in that audiobook. I was like trying to find chores and like things to do so I could listen to the audiobook, because I typically listen to books while I'm doing something. I can't just be like sitting down or laying down because I'll just like fall asleep or not focus. And then as I'm getting into the middle of Kill Creek, I think it is a very interesting book, but I feel like it might be one of those books that I'm enjoying, yes, but I think it might be a little too long. Like, I think it might need to be a little more succinct, but then again, I'm not finished with it, so it's kind of a little too early to tell. My main goal is to finish that book tonight. That is the bulk of what I want to accomplish on Halloween, so I'm looking forward to a nice, relaxing evening enjoying my Halloween decor while I still have it up, and just kind of relishing in those kind of like spooky vibes with like the weather finally getting dreary. It was like in the 60s today and didn't get any hotter than that, which is saying something for California. So I hope you all are having an amazing Halloween.